Hey everyone, welcome back. So a few weeks ago, I was replacing the headlight bulbs in my 2005 Cayenne S, and in the process of reinstalling the passenger side headlight, I realized that the mounting bracket inside was broken. So I had to order a new bracket, and in today's video, I'm going to cover how to take out your old mounting bracket and install a brand new one. Alright guys, so what I'm going to start with is this bolt right here on the front of the mounting bracket. So if you guys need to know how to take the headlight out, then you're going to have to go back and look at my old video on how to do the light bulb installation, because I've already got the headlight out, and so I'm not going to show that again and waste everyone's time who's already seen this. So we're going to start here, and I've got 4 bolts total, and they're kind of difficult to show because the other ones are pretty well hidden. But so you can see this one. We're going to loosen this one up and take it out. And there's about 4 parts that make up this this bolt, so I don't want to drop anything because it's going to be really difficult to get it from down there. So this is a 10mm bolt head, and you're probably not going to be able to get a socket on it, so I suggest just using a wrench. Alright, so got the bolt, got a washer, and then there should be... see if it comes out with it. There's a gasket right here. It's like a rubber grommet, essentially. So it doesn't seem to want to come out right now, so I'm just going to leave it there, and hopefully when I get the whole thing out, I can take out the remaining pieces. Alright, so I got the first one out. I'm going to move on number 2, which is accessible from the front, and it's right over here, and might be difficult to see on camera, but it's right there. There's this bracket. It's kind of blocking the path, or the screen, but it's right behind there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one off, and apologize if you can't see it on camera. Okay, so I got the second bolt out. Now I need to get the third one out, and it is right here. This one won't be as difficult as number 2, where I didn't have a lot of space. But the fourth one, which is back over there, you won't be able to see it at all until I get it out, and I'll show you off, once I get the whole bracket, I'll show you where it's located. So I've got all the bolts out, but I still have the electrical connection back here. But since the bolts are out, I'm going to start to pull it out a little bit so I can have a little more space to get the electrical connection, because I'm having some difficulty getting it loose right now from the bracket. There we go. All right, now I can get to it and see what's going on. This might be a little difficult to see, but what you want to do to get this free is take a small little flat blade screwdriver, and you need to press in right here. All right, and then you got one on the opposite side, and then at that point, it will come free. So now that I have the bracket out, what I need to do is everywhere that the screws were in, so all 4 locations, I've got these rubber grommets in here, and I need to push them out. So I'm gonna show you guys what's broken. So this is the new bracket. And the big thing that we have to deal with the headlight is this assembly right here. And with your headlight removal tool, you put it on right here, you twist it, and this will lock the headlight in place or eject the headlight so that you can pull it out and then replace the bulbs. There's also at the back, we have where the electrical cable hooks into place, and then it has another slot back here where the cable has like an additional place where it hooks up to another part of the cable that runs to a different part of the car, and it slides in right there. So this is the new one. I should also show you on the bottom side, this is how it interacts. So as you turn this, those wheels and the teeth interact. That's how it works. This is my old one. So first, this is broken. Not a huge deal. The cable wasn't going anywhere. But you'll notice that this snapped off completely. Now this was the problem, because when this broke off, there was no fixing it. And the main issue that kind of led to this point is that I realized I was trying to get the headlight locked back into place. And as I was turning it, the lock, it just wasn't interacting. And that's because the teeth were damaged and broken off. So it would eject the headlight, but it wouldn't lock it back into place. And so with some wiggling and just trying to kind of like get it to interact, and end up snapping the plastic, and the whole thing broke. So I had to buy a new one. So I'm now ready to install my new bracket, but I need to put these washers that I took out, these well, they're half metal, half rubber. And I took them out of the old one. Now I need to put them into the new one. And a little bit of soap on the outside will help you get it in there. Now that I'm ready to actually get the bracket into the car, I'm going to get my wiring harness hooked on here first. Okay, there we go. That's the first one. And now this one, just push it down into place. So now that I have the bracket in, I'm gonna get all the screws set into their respective locations, and then I'm going to have to play around with it a bit because all this wiggle room is actually designed that way so that you can adjust it to maintain a 3mm gap all around the opening for where the headlight goes into place. So you have to start with the front screws during that adjustment process. They're the important ones, and then once you have that gap established, then you can go ahead and tighten down the back ones. Okay, I'm finally ready to put the headlight back in and then mess with the alignment to get it to a 3mm gap all around. I've been having some issues getting the headlight back in and mounted correctly, and the main problem seems to be arising from this plug. It needs to make a solid connection into the back of the headlight, and if it doesn't do that, then it refuses to lock into place. So I'm going to show you what the problem is and then show you how we're going to go about fixing it. So as I push the headlight in, I need to make a solid connection onto the plug. Now I want to push it back as hard as I can to make that connection, and then when I go to lock it, it refuses to lock because it's not fully seated properly. So I have to kick it back out. And the main issue is this gap that's created because it's not being squeezed back hard enough right now, and so it's not locking into place. This time I've gone and removed the plug so that it won't be interfering, and you can see how small that gap is. So I'm going to apply pressure to the front of the headlight, and at the same time I'm going to attempt to lock it back into place this time, and we should hear a latch because that plug isn't interfering. There we go. Okay, so that is locked into place. And the main issue again is this rubber gasket is basically interfering with being able to close the gap down to this distance for it to be able to properly latch into place. So with the plug currently there, it's not locking. This is a common issue on these cars from these years, and one of the solutions that you could possibly do is break these tabs off, which apparently helps it to move around a bit more. We're going to try a little more refined solution, hopefully not have to break anything to do it. Before I continue on, right now the light is locked into place. Again, the electrical connection is not currently in the back of it, but since the light is locked in place and I have a good fit for the light all around, I'm going to check the gap, which Porsche wants you to do, and you want a 3mm gap, which right now I have, and the 3mm gap is essentially the width of the rubber gasket. So I'm going to check that in 3 places around the headlight, ensure that I have that 3mm gap, and then while the headlight is still in place, I'm going to screw down and tighten up all the bolts that I can reach while the headlight is locked in. So there should only be one bolt that I cannot do, and it's one on the inside, and I'll show that when I pop the headlight back out. A little bit more. 3mm, and right about 3mm. So I'm tightening down the front bolt, which can be accessed right through here for your front grille of the car. All right, that should be good for now. I wanted to get this one while the headlight was in, so I just knew for sure with 3 bolts tying down that the bracket wasn't going to move, but I was just having a really hard time identifying where this one was at, so I decided to just eject the headlight and finish it off, and the bracket was tight enough that it didn't move anything. Now for my last one, it's right here, and you can't reach this one at all with the headlight in, so you'll have to do this one with the headlight out. All right guys, so here's my solution. So I've already got the headlight locked into place. I'm not gonna undo it to relock it on camera for you because I don't want to jinx myself here with this process. But what I did is I took a crowbar in here and I applied pressure to the back of the plug here to keep it from flexing backwards like it was doing earlier while trying to install it, which was why it wasn't locking into place. So upon applying the pressure backwards, pressure to the headlight at the same time, and then locking it, twisting it to lock it in place, I managed to get seated. Now what everyone else was doing that I was reading about online is they were taking this white plug here and they were breaking off the little bracket arms that lock it into place. I really didn't want to go that route because I don't want to break anything in the car. So I was hoping that this process here would do the trick, and it has. Now to do this, I had to take the airbox out here on this side to be able to have access to all this and make it easier to be able to see what I was doing. Now, if I were you and if you had a Cayenne 2005S like this and you were doing this process, I would remove the airbox. Porsche says to remove some other things that are way more complicated to be able to gain access here. Removing the airbox is really quick and easy. It only takes like 5 minutes at most, and you'll gain all the access you need to be able to reach everything essentially and be able to do this job. I have finally completed the headlight bracket installation. So you guys probably don't know this, but this actually took 2 weeks to do. So I attempted this 1 weekend ago, and I ran into some complications. The bracket didn't want to go in. It wasn't locking the headlight into place, so I had to stop for the day, do some research, figure out what the heck was going on. And that's where I kind of figured out the plug where the electrical connection is was the issue. And so kind of did some more research on that, and that's where I came up with a solution that I did finally today to complete this project. So this was actually a double weekender for me to be able to get it done without breaking anything, because I was applying so much torque and tension to the locking mechanism that if I applied any more at that time, I was definitely going to snap something, and then I was going to end up breaking a second bracket, and I didn't want to do that. So sometimes if you're doing a project, especially on these cars, if you end up hitting a wall where it's just like you can't seem to make any progress and things are going to break if you keep going, or you feel like something's wrong, then the best thing to do is really just to stop for the day, take a step back, maybe go do some more research, and then approach the project in a different manner. And that's what I did on this one, and it worked out, and now the headlight is properly mounted in there. And if you did watch a couple weeks ago where I did the headlight bulbs for these, I don't know why, but suddenly this one is working again, just kind of mysteriously started working. I'm not going to question it. If it wants to work, that's great. Could be some sort of electrical gremlins in there, but for now, the headlights are operational completely, so I'm happy. If you guys like this video, then please give me a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button and the bell so you know when our new videos are coming out, and we'll see you next time on the DIY Grunt.